business proposal for you.
You do? What is that?
Well, business, okay? So, okay, Tyler Perry's making a bid. Byron Allen's bidding. I hear that Puff wants in. Val, let's go buy BET.
Wow, BET. That sounds like a half court shot.
No, no, no. Half court shot is bidding for the Charlotte Hornets. Michael Jordan's putting that up for sale too. So you know, all the everything that Bob Johnson owned is up for sale. I think.
Wow. So Michael Jordan's putting them up for sale too. So that's Jordan's team. Can
Hmm.
can you even afford a pair of Air Jordans? I'm just wondering.
Uh,
You know what? Is that important? Probably not. But it's probably time for us to get started. Let's go!
I did have a pair of Pro Wings, so I don't know if that's what I got. I asked for Jordans and I got Pro Wings. So they shout out to Payless Shoe Stores, RIP Payless.
Okay. You want to do this or am I doing this?
Why don't you do it?
Okay. Interludes is streaming every Tuesday on our YouTube channel, our Facebook company page, and Pure Lighthouse, home to Interludes, and LinkedIn. And we're now available, thank you, Mark Lee, on Pod TV Roku channel. If you'd like to be a sponsor on our platform or book time with us at linktr.ee/ Pure Light Media, that website is the real website's coming. And if you're interested in starting your own platform or be a fan of Talk on Tuesdays, become a fan of Talk on Tuesdays and learn how to do podcasting with Interludes, hashtag Wamble Wednesdays, and Interludes, our audio flagship, which is a Pure Lighthouse production, our audio show. Join us on Patreon. And I'll go ahead and ask Kevin to put that in the chat. Become a fan or a member for merch and the like
I got a
today.
question. Can I?
So what
Can I?
question you got? What question you got, bro?
What is Patreon? Oh, I know what Payless is. Shout out to Payless. Yeah, I feel you, but hey, man, I had many a foot ache for Payless, but you know what? It helped. He helped to make it through. So shout
Yeah,
out to
it
him for
it
real.
it is not Payless. It is a
Pay
membership.
more.
It's a membership situation. That's what it is.
It's a membership system, and you're a member.
And you could become a member of it. So that's good. So let me see. This is what. Thank you very much, Kevin. He put it in the chat for me, and I see Mark is already asking questions. We haven't gotten to that yet. And here's Kevin again. Shout out to Payless.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
too
yeah.
funny.
Well, Marco's on because and I wasn't gonna mention it, but he did. He wants to. He's waiting for Coach Tony to give him a new team to root for because his team is and I was rooting for him. I was
Hmm.
rooting for him.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, Dwayne Wade from
Yeah, of
my
course.
from my high school
Hey,
went
Peter.
to that place. Went
Hmm.
to up to Marquette and Milwaukee, and you know
All right. I'm gonna.
they
I'm gonna.
feel like
I'm
everybody
gonna.
else did, buddy. Boy,
I'm gonna.
that's the madness in March.
All right. So I'm gonna. I'm gonna.
Let's
I'm gonna
march
keep.
on now.
I'm going to keep us focused.
Yeah, let's
And now
march
we're
on.
going to we're going to march on to what we alluded to at the very beginning. And
Nice.
this young lady, like right here, right
Oh, she
here.
looks young there. This is from what 2011. You found Val found a shot of her with skin
Of
and a
course.
pointed neckline. Now you can see what
Yes.
Bob Johnson saw.
Oh my gosh. So
He saw a little bit more. There she is. That's how I remember her with the Barbara Streisand frizzy hair there.
So here's the thing, guys. Barbara, Deborah Lee. I'm so
Deborah
sorry,
Lee.
and
See, I put Barbara in your head,
I
right?
have Barbara in my head, but it's
Can't
actually
express
Deborah.
Barbara
Deborah, she's the
Streisand.
former BET CEO, and she says that she's had an affair with Bob Johnson, who was the former member, a former owner of BET,
Founder.
and he founder of
One
BET,
of
and
the first black billionaires in our modern time, you know?
let me get to the picture of the two of them. So she
Oh,
claims
there are
that he
pictures of them
threatened.
together too.
Yeah,
There's one.
he claims that they
Ooh, he's
threatened his
smiling.
job, unfortunately, and that's what happened with that. So I was thinking, wow, that is not cool.
And forget
I'm
about being Mary Jane. Let's talk about being Deborah Lee, right?
Yeah.
Now they're
And
gonna show.
so this was Lee spoke on Good Morning America with Robin Roberts. I actually saw the interview because I didn't know about this story, and thank you so much for bringing it to my attention because I'm wondering they're
Yeah, that's
both
why I'm around.
neither one of them are at BET now, but BET is right now on the chopping block on sale. But it bothers me
On
that
sale.
it's on sale,
Like
but
Pro Wings. Like Pro Wings.
it bothered me that Deborah came out about this affair and she talked about just the power dynamics of the relationship. Every time she threatened to leave Bob Johnson, he would threaten her job. And it's, you know, they were both married. I don't think either of them are married now, or they're divorced, or they're remarried. I don't know what that is, but she kind of talked about it, and she said she wanted to just kind of give people a view and kind of to give that advice. And her book is called I Am Deborah Lee, and she's out
Man, who
promoting it.
else is she
So
gonna be?
I did.
She's not Eminem. I mean, you know,
Yeah, so Me Too does exist among us brothers and sisters. It's a shame that it did in this situation, and I've long
yeah, it
admired.
did.
I've
I mean, of
long
course it
admired
does. I mean,
it. Hey, just because. But what are your thoughts on this? Because you're the one that brought this story to my attention. I was thinking, oh, BET's on sale. Let's focus in on that. You like, yeah, hey Val, did
you know,
you
and
see
I
this?
think we should, and I think that I mean, number one, she's trying to sell a book, so
Okay, of course, trying to sell the
obviously,
book, obviously, right?
you know, let me tell you about what it means to, you know, program the game 3 times a week. Is probably not going to sell a book, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Or let me tell you about, you know, what was the show called? Uncut. Let me talk you about like putting that on the air as a black woman, you know,
Mm-hmm.
being behind the decision. And people kept deriding that, and I kept thinking the whole time, boy, BET is so sexist. I'm like, yeah, but it's run by a woman. She's the one that's putting the booty videos on at 2 a.m. I mean, y'all want to complain? Complain to her. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like she was. That
And
was her
think of
job.
and think about it that maybe she didn't have as much control as her title stated that she had. I
Okay.
don't
So
know.
here, so this is what
This is what you
Val's
described.
talking about the GMA interview. I'm gonna go to a Fortune news story,
Mhm.
which she talked about the book. She said that I
Okay.
wanted to say, okay, my story is different. This I'm quoting from her, but I still ended up in a relationship that was partly harassment and partly
Mhm.
abuse, and the
Mhm.
relationship became tied to my career.
Wow.
And she continues, and this is an excerpt from the book that she's trying to sell.
Mhm.
There's no denying that turning down Bob would have affected my career.
Wow.
The man had just offered me the keys to the kingdom. If
Mm.
I rejected his advances, would I suffer for it? And it's a question mark after that.
Mhm.
I knew that my place in the corporate world as a black female COO, because she started out COO before becoming CEO,
Mhm.
was a once in a lifetime opportunity. So my question to you, Val, the voice, is this: what would you do? All right, and let's. I mean, Kevin, maybe we can ask people what would they do. I mean,
Yeah, let's
do
ask
you
the
use
chat.
the yeah? Do you use the mattress springs to, you know, smash that glass ceiling, or I mean, is that what Deborah Lee did? Because what she says is that she was mentored by Bob Johnson, this very rich, powerful man. And he saw something in her and wanted her to, be in charge. So
Mhm.
here you have someone kind of filling your head with self confidence, like you have this great ability, look what you can do, look what you can become. And is that mentorship or was he grooming her, that whole time? And then it's
Mhm.
like, Val, I think like, in most people, in their work spaces, in cubicles or wherever they work, they have these weird terms like, they work husband or their work wife.
Yeah,
And
that's an
I'm
issue.
just like, I mean,
That's
I
an
mean, is
issue.
that what Bob was thinking? Did Bob think he had found his work wife? And then like kind of took it a little too seriously, or right? He was like, I'm gonna really make this my work wife.
Yeah, so this is
Yeah,
let me jump in. Now I
that
see
picture don't
it's
help her in this argument, does it?
okay, so this is what I'm gonna say. This is Peter. Thank you so much for
This
joining.
is
He
from
said
an
it's
award show. Anybody watching this should know the pictures that Val is using is from an award show. They're stepping out. This is not usual dress attire. Even Bob Johnson doesn't walk around in the tuxedo all the time. So we're seeing them in different space. I want to be fair to her because I'm sorry. Go ahead.
you done?
Well, yeah, because I mean, I'm looking at her and she's like, I don't know why he was thinking that I was like, I mean, I'm looking at her in this picture and I know that's not how she was in corporate America. That's
Okay,
all
so
I'm
let me
saying.
jump in. Let me officially jump in now. Let me officially jump in. In the chat, go ahead and put it in there, or if you have an opinion about this. If you were Deborah Lee and you were a powerful person leading a corporation like a BET, what would you do? Would you try to avoid getting involved with the founder, the CEO, and the boss, or would you do what it took to get the keys of the kingdom, as she said, and what you just stated? So I would love to hear your opinion. Peter said that it's very sad. I think I want to say hello to Delana. So great to see you, and thank you so much for being here, Daniel. Oh my gosh, thank you so for joining us again, and I really appreciate you. And then of course Mark is he's on Scottie Pippen. He's sports focused.
Yeah,
Mark,
I mean,
we'll hit you up.
yeah,
We'll,
Deborah Lee's a little bit lucky she wasn't Larsa Pippen because she would have really
yeah,
been tired of, in that situation.
yeah. So that's a horrible thing.
Basketball, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
So let's do this, Michael. I'm gonna move on from this, but what is your final word on this? What's your final thought on
I
this?
swear. Okay, so here's the thing. Tyler Perry's supposedly bidding for it.
Hmm.
Byron Allen's supposedly bidding for it. Now Puff
Hmm.
Daddy wants to jump in. What about the three of them? Can't they look? Let's talk about brothers gonna work it out. Let's have brothers like come together in this situation,
Yeah.
pool that money together instead of doing it separately, and
Hmm.
go in and buy BET. Val, The Voice. Do you know that VH1 comes with it? VH1 is like a player to be named later in that deal. I mean, remember VH1 when VH1 was like just the stuff? And it was just like at least they got on VH1. They couldn't get on MTV. They got on VH1. Now VH1 is like I don't know, like a player to be named later. Really, I mean, seriously, that's
Uh,
crazy.
it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Now, I really want to get to this, Michael. This ban. I had initially stopped having. I had a TikTok account, and
Yeah,
I got rid of it.
yeah.
And then I got back on the platform, and then I'm
Uh
hearing more ramblings. Why don't you go ahead and take the lead on this?
huh. Oh boy. So two things. No, number
Mm-hmm.
one, it's political season. It's always politics. It seems
Mm-hmm.
nowadays you don't even get a break. But both parties in the U.S., both the Democrats and Republicans, have found a common enemy, and that is TikTok. TikTok, if you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
is owned by ByteDance, which is a Chinese company.
Oh.
So, what has
Okay.
happened and what they have discovered is that there is despite this all these, denials, and it's never going to happen, and we wouldn't do that, this data is getting back to China. It is. So the government is one of the few things is uniting Republicans and Democrats together, is this idea that they're going to bring in the folks in charge of TikTok, at least the English speaking on the American side, to talk to them, because there is no wall stopping the Chinese Communist Party from getting the data that people on TikTok readily give up, so that they can
Mm-hmm.
get, like, a
The
hundred
looks.
followers or a hundred
Exactly.
thousand or 100 million, no matter
Mm-hmm.
how much it is. And so already there have been schools,
Mm-hmm.
public institutions, some state and federal government agencies that have banned their employees and their students from having TikTok accounts or using TikTok accounts in their space. I love this. Me too. Me too. I got one somewhere. Like, I have to go back to it. I don't even
Mm-hmm.
remember where it is.
Right.
Yeah, barely use it. Yeah. So I mean, but when you do
Yeah.
that, even when you create that account, you give them access to your phone, just like you do with many other apps. But the fact that
Mm-hmm.
this is actually getting back, and we were so worried about those unidentified flying objects in the sky, right? We got to shoot it down before it goes over our base. You worried about stuff in the air. What about it? What's in your pocket?
Mm-hmm.
That might be of even more substantial danger to us all. Now, Val, the voice, my question is to you. TikTok is going to make this argument to Congress that they have, I believe the number is 100 to 125 million users
Yeah.
in
That's
the
about right.
US.
Mm-hmm.
How you going to tell 125 million people, like, nah, that's okay, go find something else? Sorry about that. Go back to Instagram. I mean, what do you, how would that work?
It would work where the government, there would be a, unfortunately, what would have to happen is a big breach, and it would be identified as TikTok, and then people would probably shy away. But there's a lot of folks that are making a substantial amount of living on TikTok as being influencers, as being someone that do their own business. People advertise their podcasts like we do. We advertise our podcasts on
Sure.
TikTok as well. So it would be, find another and safe route to advertise your business or to do business online, because there are other platforms. And then, of course, the best platform you could ever have is the good old trusty email, and set up your own email accounts, and not your own email account, set up your own email list, and just reach out to people with snail mail, which is the new snail mail is email. But the fastest way to get someone's attention is that 15 seconds to 1 minute of a dance reel, of something funny, and then a nice antidote. So that
Well,
is what it is.
here's the thing I want y'all to imagine. At some point, if we had this conversation, what, like 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
or even like 25 years ago, some of us
Mm-hmm.
be extremely young. But anyway, if we had this conversation, then, can you hear us talking about the voices saying, like, what do you mean they gonna get rid of MySpace? They'll never get rid of MySpace. I love MySpace. That's where I get all my music from. That's where I
Right.
get all of my Rough Rider videos, and I can't live without Rough Riders, or back that thing up, or So there was a time when it was MySpace or Friendster or something, and they went away. So yeah, but yeah. So I would have been talking to an infant, Val, if I was going back that far. Thanks, Mark. So
Appreciate you. So I found out about the show that you see in front of us on TikTok. Do you know that there's TikTok videos of Queen's Court? This is
There's
now on
TikTok
Peacock
videos of
of
everything.
everything. I didn't know that. And
But
have
in a
you
year, it's all gonna go away.
exactly?
Okay.
And have you had a chance to watch this reality show? I haven't done reality shows in a minute, and this was I saw
Woo,
a
that's a
very
beautiful
funny
picture,
TikTok
huh?
to this. Hmm?
Good Lord, that's a beautiful picture.
Oh, who is this? Of who?
Uh, no, go back to the other
I'll
one.
go back to the other one. Okay. All right. Who are you talking about? Evelyn.
Woo! Oh,
Evelyn.
Evelyn.
So
Yes,
so
Evelyn.
there's Evelyn, there's Tamar Braxton, and then the singer Nevia.
Wait, there are other people in that picture?
Yeah,
Okay,
there are other
sure.
people, and
If you say so.
Holly Robinson Pete and her husband Rodney are curating
To the
21
right, to
men
the right.
to court these
All my
girls.
eyeballs to the
But
right, to the
but check this out. This
right.
got
Uh-huh.
released. This got released last month on Peacock, and so some of the people that have matched up, they're already
Oh,
matched up.
yeah,
But we
yeah,
have to
yeah,
be
yeah,
quiet
yeah.
about
No,
that.
no, no,
Okay.
we don't. I mean, it's been reported, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
talking about the show, I mean, that is one of the payoffs of it.
Hmm.
Because some of these shows, you're like, well, what's going to happen? Or this is ridiculous, and obviously that's stupid, or this person's a joke, and all.
Hmm.
No, no, y'all. Two of these three people that went through this show are engaged now.
Already.
People from
Already.
the show. Now,
Hmm.
I mean, you can watch it however you want to. That's the way I was watching it. So I saw exactly what you saw, and then I quickly moved away from that story to
Me
watch it to
too.
try to figure out like
Yeah.
who
So
is it?
so
They
I
make a
saw
real
so,
connection.
right. So I saw 2 episodes. Each is 10 episodes, guys, on Peacock, and it's an hour for
All right,
each
break down
episode.
who that is. Let's break down who these people are. Because if you keep
Okay.
that picture up there, so from the left you got
Evelyn
Evelyn, who was
Lozada.
Mrs. Ocho Cinco for like all of like 23 days. I don't know
40,
if y'all remember.
42, 43 days.
43 days she was Ocho Cinco,
She
Mrs. Ocho
claims that
Cinco.
there was physical abuse in
Yeah,
that
because he
relationship.
crazy.
Okay. She claimed that,
Anyway,
but I don't know. I don't know. I
no, he
wasn't there.
crazy. He crazy. Nah, for
Okay.
real. When I
And
saw him doing coverage of the World Cup, and that was insane.
okay.
All
And
right,
then there's the
okay.
singer Nivea.
Yeah, come on, Val. You giving her a lot of credit. That's Lil Wayne's baby mama. Okay, there she is. All right.
Okay.
Just no. I mean, so the people actually know who she is, because
Oh
y'all
my
gonna have
God.
people like googling Nivea trying to find songs. Ain't no songs. Okay,
Okay.
that's Lil Wayne's baby mama. They real close still. She calls
Okay.
him a lot, and she talked about it in the show. And then there is Tamar on the right, who we all know has been through hell over the
Oh,
last
been
year
through a
and a
lot.
half.
Been through a lot. Keep
Yeah.
talking, Michael. Keep talking.
Yeah, so I mean, so we know what happened with her. She had this terrible she lost her sister, as some of you know, to suicide. Obviously the one that everybody knows is Tony. Tony has had her own kind of health issues that has kind of kept her to doing videos and not really touring. She had a kind of a residency for a second. So the Braxtons have largely lived on reality TV rather than performing, at
Hmm.
least live. So you get these three women, and the thing about it is, they're from what I saw, and I saw like about several episodes. I must have gone into like about 4 or 5 episodes,
Hmm.
4 and 5 up through
Hmm.
the first one, and they're really cool with each other.
They
And
are
sometimes the drama on these shows is having
the
the
women.
the yeah the women or the men, whoever
Yeah.
it is, living in the same space, trying to deal with each other.
Hmm.
And here they actually are pretty cool. One thing we didn't mention is that yeah, I feel you. I do. I had a lot of empathy for her throughout watching this. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and I have to say this, when I one of the very few reality shows that I ever really enjoyed, and I used to love watching it with my mom because their mom was involved with, was Braxton Family Values. I used to love
Mhm.
watching that, and that was one of the few reality shows I watched. And then because of Shawnee O'Neal, who was married to Shaq,
Okay.
I like to watch the first couple of seasons of Basketball
Yeah.
Wives. But with the exception of those reality shows, I can't get into Housewives. I
Hmm.
can't get into I like the singing ones. The only singing one I like is The Voice.
Okay.
Maybe what is the America's Got Talent? Maybe
Hmm.
because it's
Hmm.
summertime. But other than that, so I have to say, if you like Evelyn, if you like Tamar, if you like Nivea, and this would be entertaining to see how things go. It goes 10 episodes. It's currently on Peacock, and
And it's hosted by the Pete. So in the
it's
background,
hosted
you
by the
got
Peeps.
Rodney Pete and of course Holly Robinson Pete, and they really help out the show. I mean, they kind of provide this idea that it's possible. You
Hmm.
can find somebody. So I
And
think it's a great
uh,
show.
staying on the same platform, and this will be the last one we
That's
talk
Peacock.
about. We're very, very happy that I'm very, very happy that Bel Air got renewed for a third season because I was very because of someone that we were all chit chatting
Somebody that
about.
really slaps. Uh-huh.
We were a
His
little
music
worried that
slaps.
Bel Air would not come back. So I'm just so happy it came back for the second season, and now it has now been renewed for a third season. So I think Jabari Banks, the actor that portrays Will Smith in Peacock, is doing a great job, and they brought on the original Ashley to play a teacher in the current season. So if you guys want to check out Bel Air, it is currently streaming on Peacock. New episodes air on Thursday.
Yeah. The
And
only Will
then
Smith that I can stand. Yep. On Peacock.
yeah, so
There she
I'm
is. There
there
you
she is.
got Tatiana Ali.
Right. So that she played the youngest and she did play Ashley. And now that's the young actress that is now playing the new Ashley on Bel Air. And I
Who's
think they
finally
are
old
doing a
enough.
great
Yep.
job.
Uh-huh. Yep. Mhm. Woo.
Anywho, it's time to pivot and get to it right here. We got some coaches in the building. So let's go ahead and let's get it going. Here we go.
I love that beat, man. I'm about to get on my nerves.
There
That
we go.
beat just
I know, right?
that's just a ride out beat, man. It's just ride out, man. I tell you, man.
No, maybe want to get in the car, man.
What's up, Val the voice?
How are you? How you
Listen,
doing?
Yeah.
hey, before we talk about anything, I don't mean to sadden the show. My boys on tonight.
Sadness.
I just want to say a quick prayer, a quick moment of silence. One of my partners, my DJ, Cedrico Suave, I know you're on the night. His wife, Val, Mike, going through some very difficult times right now. So, we just want to let you know, interludes, the family, everyone is sending our prayers out to you to get better, Toy. We love you very much. Anything we can do on this show to help you in any way, please let us know.
All right. Thanks for letting
Right.
us know. And very
Yeah.
sorry to hear about that. But we got people that's showing you love. Mr. Springer is happy to see you. Let's give it up for Coach Tony. And of course, Elena. It's like, hey,
Elena, my girl, what's
There
up?
you
That's my
go.
biggest
There you go.
that's my biggest
Yeah.
fan. I got my hats off to you, Elena. Yeah,
Coach, yeah.
it,
Coach, already before you came in.
I
You
saw
got
Mark.
you,
I
you
saw
saw
Mark.
he want to know
Yeah,
who now. Now that
yeah,
those golden
yeah.
eagles have
They bowed out,
have
but I look at it, Mike. A couple of things here.
right into
One,
the mountain. Uh-huh.
when you and I talked last week, what was the two questions that I posed that you and I kind of, we're like, I said, who's going to be that first Power Five to go down hard, right? And who is going to be the new St. Pete's this year? Obviously, we know it's a toss up between Princeton and FAU. Now, my boy Dusty May is coaching at FAU. I've been knowing Coach May for over a decade, and I wish him very well. Hope he continue to go deep in his tournament and all that. But Mike, I told you about Zona. I knew Zona was going to bow. Even you were glad that I saw that Zona was going to buy out. But I'm so disappointed in Purdue, man.
Yeah, but coach,
And
I'm gonna give you your props. All right,
I, I
which
told you,
hurts me because I had them
guard
in
play.
one bracket winning, so that bracket
Yeah.
is up in flames.
And I told you,
But
the only thing that
you
beats
told
7-4 is guard.
me you because I asked you, I said what beats 7-4, and you said two guards, and sure enough, that's what happened. Two guards beat 7-4.
Two
So
guards.
so in my mind, not to pivot too far away from the tournament, coach, but what does that do to that young man's opportunities past college? Because there's the answer, real easy. So it's like, oh, I'm gonna be this great draft pick. It's like, are you? Because I put two people on you, and your height is gone.
Yeah, but Mike, you got to look at a couple things. Here's the argument to that. And I talked to my guys, shout out to my Vol State guys, my other guys, shout out to my boy. He on the night too, Coach Rose, for winning the TWSA 4A state championship and those Memphis Overton Tigers. Man, I appreciate you, baby. I know you're on the night, so I appreciate you. But Mike, Zach had 25. What else you want him to do? Triple team, 25. This kid is still going number one or number two in the draft. Period.
So you're telling me that and not to no disrespect, but just the rest of Purdue is trash.
Basically.
Really?
It has to be. Now think about that.
No.
They're a number one
Get
seed.
him, Val. Get him,
They're
Val.
number one seed. They lose to a 16, and what he went 25, right?
25.
So what you want him to do? Go 55? I mean,
Exactly.
what more can the young man do? He's giving you height. He's giving you points. He's giving you a presence in the paint, and you giving him nothing.
And the crazy part about it, Mike, is this. We always talk about opportunities. Val's big on that, about opportunities, whether it's in the the movie side, the TV side, somebody just coming on board, coming from a playwright or a comedian, and the opportunity, right? So what Purdue did is gave the head coach of FDU the opportunity. He only got there 1 year, and he's gone to a bigger job already, man. That's crazy.
I was watching those commercials, during the tournament, and they go one and done, and they were talking about Kentucky with AT&T. Seemed like,
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was funny, wasn't it?
It was funny. And you know what's funny? Because that's also how Kentucky went into this tournament too, Coach. One and done.
One and done again. And Coach Cal, baby. Now I'm hurt, but I'm not too hurt. I got 7 in the Sweet 16. And by the way, I got to give it up to Jalen, my guy, Vol State. In our bracket tournament, Val, with everybody, he leads the way right now. I think he's got 11 and still listed there. He was number 1. So but I'm not too hurt. I still got Bama, still got Texas. My Elite 8 still looks pretty good and all that. But Mike, this becomes, as they say, the tournament within the tournament. So now it's the Sweet 16 bracket from here going in. So we're going to redo this thing.
We're going to redo it
and talk about that, who we got. So my question to you and Val, before I give you mine, is from the Sweet 16, you've seen who's got the Cinderella, right?
Okay.
We've seen Dorothy, right?
Dorothy.
So, right, we got Cinderella, we got Dorothy in there, right?
Now,
and then we got
Coach Dorothy is gone. She went back to Kansas.
Wait a minute. Let him finish.
She took the rest of the Jayhawks with her.
No.
Click the heel.
They all back in Lawrence.
Click the heel, Freak.
It's okay. It's okay.
So we got them two, and then we got the Dragon Slayer. So my question to you in the Sweet 16, because I've had texts and phone calls today. Coach, please talk about tonight the new bracket, the Sweet 16 and in, and all that. So my question to you and Val is, from the Sweet 16 and in, who you got?
Well,
okay,
now,
good.
Coach, you went back, you went weird. I don't know what you did. Flip your camera again. There we go.
He was kind of looking at. He's giving us a side eye. That's a side eye.
Right.
So, Coach, let's look at it. So we got in there. We got. We're looking at. I'm going to start here with UConn and Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
We
Okay.
got UConn and Arkansas coming up in 2 days. And then immediately after, later on the same night, you got UCLA and Gonzaga. So UConn and Arkansas, those Hogs, they got it.
I'm
Hogs
gonna
are
take.
dogs. Hogs are dogs.
I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take the Huskies on that one.
Taking the dogs over the Hogs.
Yep. And then I got to move my UCLA Bruins, which I already had them. I'm moving them forward. So I've got UConn and UCLA in that bracket. My bracket still stays intact over there.
Okay,
Okay.
so you lose. So Gonzaga, no Gonzaga.
No Zags, no Zags. I
No
Okay,
got
so that's
Zags.
the
UCLA
West.
moving
Okay.
up.
Okay, so that
Who
was the
else?
West. If we move over to the South, I know
Yeah.
that Mark Lee already had a question about Alabama. Can anybody
Mm-hmm.
beat Alabama? Alabama
Mm-hmm.
Well,
plays San Diego State.
Bama just got the door open, right? So we're talking about Outer Banks on Netflix, right? We're talking about the Outer Banks now, Val. The door just got open to Outer Banks
I
because
thought we
now
were talking
Bama.
about Bruno Mars. We leaving
I
that
thought we
door
were talking about
open.
Bruno Mars too.
Leave that door open. Yeah.
Oh my
Hey,
gosh.
open up the window,
Oh,
cause I'm
here we
telling you,
go.
and
All
let
right.
them in. Cause Bama is going all the way to the Final Four, if not the championship game. I don't see
Wow.
anybody in the South beating
Wow.
them. Not San Diego State, not Creighton, not Princeton. Even though Princeton is our new St. Pete this year, right? But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they won't
Bama,
get as far as St. Pete, huh? They'll be
correct.
head
They
to
won't
back.
get it far, and Bama is going to walk out that South region unscaled.
So too bad for Princeton. They'll have to go back to running companies in the rest of the world instead of
And
just
they had a great run, Val. Basically,
ooh.
what
I
they was
thought they
putting
had a
that
great run too.
They
they putting that
did. I said
it
they're
ain't
gonna have to
over,
go back. They're gonna have to go back to having Fortune 500 companies and
right?
running the
That's
world.
not a
But
Sorry.
it
bad
ain't
gig.
over.
That's not a bad gig. I think that's fine. Go ahead, coach.
And Val, if they should get by Creighton. So in terms of their school, they will have made it the furthest they ever made it in an NCAA tournament if they move to the Elite Eight. So that is not bad. You
All
move
right,
to the Elite
coach.
Eight,
All right,
I
coach.
believe
Let's
too.
go to the mess. Let's go to
All
the
right.
mess that's left. And of course, by the mess, I'm talking about the beast from the East. The East, where there's no number one, no number two, and we
Hey,
got all the numbers in between.
I'm
So
gonna tell
let's
you. I'm gonna tell you what I told you. And I want to see you and Val at either Osco or Walgreens by Thursday playing the lottery because we got the 3, 4, 7, 9 in that bracket. Never ever 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 happened before. The 3, the
Okay.
4, the 7, 9.
it's a big mess. So I think that Tennessee's gonna help clear some of that out, right? Or you going with your guy? You going with your guy at Florida Atlantic?
No, neither one. I'm going with my boys. I'm kind of mad. I'm really mad. I talked to my basketball manager today. I'm really, really mad because I'm a true Big Ten guy, and I'm a big Izzo fan. I was
Okay.
in the house in 2000 with my team Cleves when Michigan State won
Yeah,
it,
the
and Michigan
Flintstones.
State
The
should move
Flintstones.
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
All right.
Michigan State moving on to meet Tennessee in the
Mhm.
Elite Eight, with Michigan State moving on to the Final Four. Again,
Woo! Whoa, you got
20,
Michigan State coming out of that?
23 years later, Michigan State makes it back to the Final Four.
So
Wow.
2023
Okay.
Jordan number. All right. Okay. On
The
the
Yep,
Jordan
20, they
number.
play
two,
on the
three on that
23rd.
Jordan.
They do play on
And then
the
our
23rd.
last bracket staying at the crib in the Midwest. In the Midwest,
Who you
Houston
got?
is
You got the
still
West. Yeah.
there. And they got their boy back. So Houston's going to be a tough put out. But I do not think that when they meet with the Battle of Texas, I think them Hook'em Horns still going to knock him out. Even though we got the road back to Houston, I think them boys going to come from Austin, Texas, into
Mm-hmm.
Houston. I got the Texas Longhorns coming out of that region. So my final four,
Hook 'em.
I got Texas
Hook
versus
'em.
UCLA and Alabama playing Michigan State.
Okay, so good. All right, so you do have, and coach, you told us this last week. You told us it was going to be the Battle of Texas, and sure enough, here it is lining up. Houston to play Texas, Houston to beat Miami, Texas to take on and knock out Xavier, and then Texas to win over the Cougars over Houston. All
Exactly.
right, sounds good. Which brings you to the your Final Four, which is right there. Yeah, I don't mind listening to Draymond. If, for the fun, I want to be entertained.
Oh wow.
Certainly, some of these people
Are we
may not
not
be that
entertained?
entertaining.
Hey, stat.
We not
So coach, thank you guys for the predictions. We have a guest.
So
well,
that, let me tell you something. I've brought you the NBA guys. I brought us NBA scouts. I brought us college major Power 5 basketball players. I've got us women coaches. But my man tonight has been with me at my hip through, when I say the trenches, high school camps, clinics, and everything that you can think of. This guy's a coach. He's a mentor. He's a trainer, player development. And for the guys that are on tonight listening, this guy is one of my main friends who holds the key to the international market. So we're going to now listen to how and what it takes to get overseas, Val. This guy has been, right now, he's the general manager of Santiago, Dominican Durago men's basketball club, including the United Cup winner 2021. I've seen several players. He's been in Latin basketball. He's been coach of the year. He's been to Tonga and the national team, Val. This guy, I just can't. If I named all of his awards, we'd be on here for 20 minutes. So give it up to my homeboy, Coach Mac, as I call him, Travis McAvee.
Yay!
How's everybody doing tonight?
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Mac, what's up, baby?
Yay.
I can't complain. I'm just living life here in Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, nice.
And Val, I ain't even mentioned one other thing, Val and Mike. This guy loves his daughter. We were pumping his daughter up last year on the volleyball tip. Got her. She's now a big college volleyball player, man. So I'm telling you, man, this is awesome.
Wow, this is amazing. And I kind of did a deep dive on you, Coach Mac.
Okay.
So I'm assuming this is from one of the coach teams that you've coached, what you're looking at right now.
Yeah, so that was back in 2014 when I was coaching in Taiwan with former NBA Coach of the Year Sam Mitchell. That used to be with the Minnesota Timberwolves and also the Toronto Raptors. That's my coaching ordeal back at that time in 2014 with Sam.
Wow. And tell us about your time there, because it seems like you, as Coach said, you're international in this.
I mean, it's been a journey since 2012. I've been in, I believe, 8 different countries now, and head coaching roles and general manager roles. And it's something that I just kind of taken on over time. I did coach college basketball prior to that, and I was a head prep school coach prior to that. So this is 26 years going into it between prep school, college, and professional basketball overseas. So it's always a grind.
Go ahead, Coach.
No, you're doing great, Val. I was going to say, Coach Matt, take us back to the beginning. You're a Kentucky guy. So take us back to the beginning, man. Just tell us, along with you coming out of school, playing ball from a small school. A lot of these guys think that they've got to be at your Texas or University of Kentucky's to make this thing happen. And I really want these guys tonight to really, really understand the work that they need to put in and then the doors that need to open.
Tell Kevin Springer I said what's up as well. Tell him I appreciate the welcome. So Coach T, I'm from Indiana, born and raised. Grew up a Hoosier. I played small college basketball. I finished up my career at Indiana Wesleyan University and also Taylor University. So I finished up an NAIA guy in 1998 and got into coaching right away. So I mean, I've been fortunate enough to win a lot and be in the right places at the right time and meet the right people to get opportunities that I've gotten. But back to your comments or your question, I mean, a lot of guys can definitely get a job playing basketball overseas professionally if they do the right things and do things in order. Some guys don't have the patience or I should say the drive to make it that far because they want everything handed to them and they don't want to work for it. And unless you're a big time Division I guy coming out of school, you're going to have to pay your dues and and do some things you don't necessarily want to do to get where you want to be.
Yeah, and pay your dues. This is going to go back to one of Val's question that she had asked a while back during the Brittany Griner situation. Mm-hmm. She had asked me then, Coach Tony, we watched our women playing WNBA, and Val, she's done a hell of a job these last months learning the sports side of the house. Trust me. And she asked me at that time, with these women, unlike our NBA guys, why do the WNBA women have to go overseas and play because their paychecks are not there? So the question I ask you here with the guys is that with these guys, 80%, Val, 80% of the guys that are not going into the NBA draft usually end up overseas, if not playing, locally. And now locally here, the TBL, which is now the largest semi-pro basketball league in the U.S., has formed over the last 4 or 5 years. And they've done a heck of a good job of keeping guys home and making money. Of course, you've seen Ice Cube with the TBT and the things he's done on television. Yeah. But in your world, Coach Mack, as you mentioned a moment ago, Val, these guys, take these guys through the process. So they graduate, some of these guys, and then we're talking about major players, Val. We're talking about guys that are in the NCAA tournament right now will end up overseas through a tryout or through something like that. Coach Mack, explain to these guys who are listening tonight what we call in the international market, there is what we call the A, the B, and the C divisions, and explain to them the importance of which ones are what as opposed to being here in the U.S.
I mean, there's several markets you can get into. I mean, obviously Europe's going to pay the most money and has the most opportunities, Spain, Germany, Russia, Italy. I mean, those are a given. But back to your comment, I mean, there's also second tier and third tier countries, whether it be South America, Latin America, that even parts of Asia that's going to pay in that $3,000 to $5,000 a month range, and then it can even get lower depending on the club and how much money they have through sponsorship, and it just varies from club to club and team to team and how much money they have in that market to pay guys. And sometimes you've got 2 imports per team, and some countries will allow 4, but in most cases it's 2. And the Americans, or whatever, American, Canadian, however you want to put it, they got to be able to score a lot, and not just score points, but be, keep their heads screwed on right and stay out of trouble, off the court too. That those both play hand in hand when it comes to being a pro basketball player overseas, because nobody wants to deal with trouble, because, I mean, half the time, they don't understand what we're saying anyways. We're speaking English, and it's all about playing and production. So, I mean, a lot of guys don't understand too, is like, you can have a contract, say you're making $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and if you're not producing after 2 or 3 weeks, they'll send your ass home. And that's the reality of it. Even as a coach, I mean, if you're not winning and doing what management expects of you, it's about production. So, I mean, whereas here in America, we're guaranteed contracts, and if they fire us, they still got to pay us. Well, abroad, it don't work that way. If we don't, meet their, standards and win, then you're going to get sent home. And guys don't understand that. I got a contract. My agent said this, my agent said that. They don't mean nothing, because you're in their country and their rules.
Coach Mack, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Talking about basketball and kind of language, and we kind of see that we're seeing that more in basketball, but certainly sports fans have seen that in baseball, where English is maybe not the most common language of players. So I have a kind of a different question to ask you.
Sure.
Is basketball a language? Is there a language to basketball that goes beyond borders, goes beyond countries? And if it is, have you been able to learn how to speak that language and hear that language with your international players, or players we might in the States consider as international?
I mean, to answer your question, yes. I mean, so like, for example, like all my years being in the Dominican Republic, you have to understand a little bit of Spanish and understand their culture and what's going on. And and at least have a translator beside you. And even when I spent time in Asia, it's so important that you understand translation and have someone of their ethnic background to translate messages to you while you're coaching. Whereas when I've been in, Caribbean countries like Turks and Caicos, or I've been in Belize, they speak English. It's kind of like Creole at times, where you kind of got to really pay attention to what they're saying, but you still can understand they speak English. It really just depends on the country you're in, but absolutely you have to be transparent and be alert on what's going on within their country's language, because it's definitely different from ours, and you got to be on your toes at all times, or you'll get lost.
One of my favorite movies over the last year didn't wind up on a bunch of lists, though the actor did get a nomination for in one case for his role, was Adam Sandler. Sandler in Hustle.
Yeah,
and I love that movie. So
it's real.
That's real. Go ahead, tell us how real it is. Yeah.
You look at it and you watch it. It's so real because obviously I've never been an NBA scout, so I'm not going to sit here and say I know that life, but I also know what it means that and Tony does too. You got to go out and you got to find talent, and that's what's going to land you positions on finding the right talent. You can't win without it. So the role that he plays is so important to a franchise, because especially on the international scene, if he wasn't out grinding and going country to country and watching basketball and evaluating players, the Sixers in that movie wouldn't have what they have, as far as draft picks and personnel. So it's beyond real. It's probably one of the more real movies that's been put out on the basketball side in a long time.
Oh, yeah. And Mike, just add on something you had earlier. You touched on it, and you actually almost said that, but ex-President Obama is the liaison president to what we call the NBA Basketball Beyond Borders. So Basketball Beyond Borders, for those that don't know, is the NBA has extended the opportunity for professional athletes to play in what they call the next big tier. And Coach Mack just said a moment ago, now, if you look on your NBA TV sometime, you'll see the ABL, which is the African Basketball League. They have their own entire league now that they've got. And then you've also got the Euros. So what the NBA is trying to do, hopefully over the next 5 to 10 years, they said, is that the only way the Europeans play the American teams is when? During the Olympics, right? So the Euros complain that just because the Americans say that they're NBA champs doesn't mean that they're world champs, even though we say we're the world NBA or the world champs. So what the NBA is trying to do is get 4 major markets in Europe, Africa, the U.S., and South America. And based on that, hopefully the next decade, whoever the top 2 teams that make it to that championship, those 8 teams will then face off to what they consider to be a world championship, and then they will crown that as a world champion. So you got guys like Coach Mack, who is out in Africa, who's out in Germany, who's over in China, who's in Japan. These guys don't come home sometime 5, 6, 7 months scouting talent like a Luka Doncic who's at Dallas and trying to bring them home.
It's funny you just say that, because you said a basketball without borders, and everybody on the show might recognize this name, Felipe Lopez. And Felipe is like the Dominican Michael Jordan. They just did a 30 for 30 documentary on him on ESPN. Yeah. So Felipe is heavily involved with the league that I'm in right now in the DR. It's called the LDC, Professional Basketball League. And Felipe is one of our spokespeople and is heavily involved. He also has a professional team called GUG in the Dominican Republic. And, he's a real cool dude. He's very much hands-on and about giving people in this country, the Dominican Republic, opportunities to play basketball professionally. So, and he's all over. He actually works for the NBA, the Borders program that you just discussed, T. So that's part of his occupation with the NBA is he's with that program Beyond Borders.
And Val and Mike, just to see something. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
No. I just one quick question I had, because what we're all seeing is that basketball is a international sport. It is a worldwide sport. Coach Mack, who would surprise us? Out of all your travels and the places that you've been and the basketball that you've seen, what country or what location on earth would surprise us? And you say like, wow, they've got some really good players there.
I mean, that's a really good question. As many places as I've been, believe it or not, the basketball competition is very good in Asia. Where I've been, just because they're able to shoot the ball well, they're always in shape, they're coached well, they're fundamentally sound, and I don't think a lot of times the Asian players get the respect unless you get into China. It's always that reputation. But Latin America, Latin America has been great. The Dominican Republic players can really play as well. They're very athletic, they're aggressive, they work their ass off, and their work ethic we can learn a lot from as American players, because they do it for their livelihood. I mean, if they don't produce, and the bills don't get paid, and we take so much for granted here. I mean, they do a lot for a little. I think our culture here sometimes as basketball players can be spoiled, and everything sometimes given to us, where those guys are just, they're hungry. They want to get to the next level, and sometimes they outwork us. And I think we got to get back to that old school work ethic that we had in the 90s and early 2000s, and get back on top as a country, as far as, not so much the NBA, but just players beneath the NBA, because a lot of the world is caught up to us
on that
basketball level.
Oh, yeah, especially on that. I just had a question that came in me on a text that asked you, looking at the euro, looking at the international market, the question is, do you believe that we should continue to send our players like Melo Ball when he left and went over there, when Jennings left, before Jennings came and went to Minnesota, and now we're back to the one and done rule, and now we're NIL. NIL helps out a lot, because now these kids don't have to go to Europe anymore. They can stay home, take a lower tier scholarship, go out, make money on the NIL deals, and they're still getting paid. So do you feel that these high school kids are going to continue to go over to Europe, then bounce back here to go to college or the league?
1,000%. I mean, because a lot of times I feel like a kid really doesn't want to be in an academic setting with college. And they might be 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 7 foot, and really have the God-given ability to make money playing basketball. So I can't blame somebody for saying I'm going to go to Spain or Germany or Russia or whatever, Italy, for a season, make six figures, and then come back and get drafted in the NBA. I can't fault somebody for that. When they're doing the same thing by saying I'm going to go to Kentucky or Kansas or Duke and spend a year there, and then I'm going to bounce. So it's apples and oranges, except they get in that international experience and getting to play good competition as well. So they come back and they're better basketball players by playing that level of competition.
And they open that door up, because if they go to the league and they don't finish that first 3-year contract, at least they've been on that international market with the contact to go back. That's what a lot of guys don't get.
True.
Yeah, I saw an interview with you, and you spoke about the Mamba mentality.
Yeah, Kobe's my favorite player.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Jordan was too, but I really, when Kobe passed in the early part of the spring in 2020, that hurt. I mean, because he's my age, and actually I was going to get the chance to work with his father, Joe Bryant, in 2012, at the Jones Cup in Taiwan. I was actually going to be his assistant, and then he took a job which landed that head coaching position in my lap, which I'm forever thankful for. But I would have gotten the chance to meet Kobe in 2012 with his dad, but that never worked out. But regardless, I've always been a huge fan, and his mindset and the way he handled himself as a professional was priceless to me.
Yeah. And I wanted you to kind of tell us about this. I saw this on your social media. You were the United Cup selection, and this was in Belize?
Yes, that was this past January out in
Wow.
Santiago. Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful, wonderful. Coach, Tony?
Now, Val, I'm gonna say this guy's been so incredible. So we connected back in 2010, right after the thing. Coach Mack came in to do a camp of mine. We had some players. I sent one of my players later on, graduated small school, into Coach Mack. This is how incredible stepping stones go. He took him down to Mexico with him, had him play in a lower tier market, worked him out, ended up moving the kid up for little no money, like he said, but the kid was hungry. And now the kid's in Japan playing in the B division, and he's making about 12,000 a month, and he's enjoying himself. And he's, when I say start in the bargain basement, this was back as Coach Mack was getting into the opportunity to do some things. And he, he told the kid, hey, you can come over. This at least to give you that opportunity, but what you make of it is on you. And the kid went there and blew the doors off, and then the rest was history. So, the opportunities are there. But as he said, our kids sometime in the United States, they feel that they're coming out of these schools and they're better than these kids in these international markets. And just because they go over, they should be given such and such. And that just ain't how it is.
Yeah.
Are we talking about George, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's special.
Yeah, very much. And so, and that's going to happen. And this door is going to continue to send more and more players. Coach Mack, tell these guys about the process of the camps that you do. Mm-hmm. And with this last question in, try to tell these guys about the camps that are involved in order to take the proper steps to come to your camp, to be looked at, be selected in order to be on those teams and move overseas.
I mean, it's funny you say that because I actually, as I'm getting into my notes here, I actually just took a position this summer to actually be the director for an event called the Global Hoop Summit in Las Vegas during the NBA Summer League.
Yay.
Yeah, so that's
I'll be there with you. Don't worry.
Right, you can come out for sure. But that allows me to obviously I'll be running the event, doing drills and doing things I normally do, but it also allows me to bring in players that are fresh out of college for this year's class of 23 and then last year's class of 22 and get their feet wet and say, okay, hey, maybe I can place them in the Dominican Republic where I'm at, or Belize, or other countries that will be present, during that event. And that'll be, July the 14th. That'll be Friday, July 14th at the Tarkanian Center there at UNLV in Las Vegas. So I can, anybody that wants to reach out to me, I can get them details for that. And, it's a couple of days in Las Vegas and hanging out during the NBA Summer League and getting a chance to play basketball and prove how good you are. So, and
that's JUCO players as well, the ones that are not going. So you got JUCO players that are finished and they're done, and school's not going to be for them. They're more than welcome.
I mean, it's to get their feet wet. I mean, if they come out and it doesn't work out, then they always can go back to school or choose another platform. But yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to this summer, and it's always you always got to keep your resume going, no matter what you're doing. You always got to keep yourself moving forward. You can't stay, in place. You got to keep going forward. So,
well, hey, man, we love you, man. I appreciate you in this time tonight on none other than Interludes Talk on Tuesday with my girl, Val, the boys, Mr. Wamble, and, of course, me, Coach Tony. This has been my guy, Coach Travis Mack, man. Let's give it up.
All right. Yay, Coach Mack.
I appreciate it.
Have fun in Vegas and come back and see us when you have more time.
I've enjoyed your guys' podcast. I, haven't done my research like you, Val, but, I'm learning as I go. Tony keeps telling me he's becoming this big podcast guy that's doing all these great shows. So I'm just glad I could be a part of it. Finally, it's hard for us to connect with our busy schedules, but it's been great to be online tonight and be a part of your show.
Yeah, and thank you so very much, Coach. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach, as always, you bring us
Yes.
always some of the
There we go.
best
There we go. Yeah.
guests. He's
Man,
international, everywhere, Taiwan, Belize,
I mean,
everywhere.
these kids want to get out of here, right? They want to get out of here, Mike. So
Yes.
we're gonna make sure we get them out of here.
That's right. See the world,
Right.
man. See the
See
world.
the world. And I
Love.
saw some of Coach's
Awesome.
training videos, and he's got the kids dribbling the ball twice.
Incredible.
And he's incredible. And he's like, nope, do it again. No, do it again. And he's
Yeah.
like, I love this. And I'm sitting here going, okay, this is the kind of coach I want to be under and see. And I know you do that with your people, Coach Tony. So
Yeah.
The best only attract the best. That's how that works, right?
Hey, iron sharpens iron, Val. Iron sharpens iron, baby.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, anywho, Coach, thank you so much
Hey.
for the predictions. I will see. It'll be down to the Elite Eight, or will it be down to the Final Four next week?
When we get back to us on Tuesday, we'll be going into the Elite Eight. So right now, just giving you my Final Four picks. We're gonna leave it at that. Then me and Michael circle back, and we'll take the Final Four on into the house.
All right, great. So and then here we go. What's your word?
Well, I'm coming to you obviously from the Rise NIL Studios, and I'm loving what we got. And if you have not subscribed tonight, you better push that button. Push it and push it quickly, right? Because it's one of the hottest shows that is out there. And Val, the voice, and my homeboy, Mr. Wamble. I'm Coach Tony, but you know my words.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm out.
He's out. There goes Coach. Oh my goodness. There he goes. All right, Michael.
Yes.
Michael. What we talking about tomorrow? I'm actually available on tomorrow. So what we talking about tomorrow? What is this? What does that mean?
I'm going to talk to you about the show that's been getting out of buzz. The buzz, because it's the show that goes, Val. You'd appreciate it. It goes after the hive a little bit. Val of them jokes about the hive that she tells.
We're talking about the beehive. You talking about that?
And this show goes after them. It's a show on Amazon Prime that's been getting a lot of buzz. Not just because Barack Obama's daughter writes for it, but because of a lot of other interesting things about it. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. I know we're gonna swarm in on that show. So find out about it
Mark.
tomorrow. It'll be
cool.
All
thanks,
right,
Mark. That's wonderful. And there we go. Kevin says swarm. Find out more on Interludes Extra presents #Wamble Wednesdays. That's tomorrow.
Craig.
That is tomorrow at 7 Central, 7-ish. We'll do it like that.
Don't meet me there. Beat me there. It's gonna be crazy.
Oh my goodness. And then of course, let me do what we do. I'm going to be chatting with a fellow podcaster and a veteran. She is getting into being a virtual DJ. Her name is Lakeisha Mosley. We've met on the audio app Clubhouse. And so she's a veteran. She served this country. She's a married woman of 3. And we have a wonderful chat about her getting into being a virtual DJ and gospel music. And it's going to be fun. So Interludes, a Pure Lighthouse production that is being released on tomorrow. A veteran DJ. That's the working title. Michael will give me a better one.
Yeah, we're still working on that one.
Still working on the title.
Check in tomorrow during the #Wamble Wednesday. It'll be 150% better. All right.
There we go. So anywho, Interludes is streaming every Tuesday on our YouTube channel, Facebook company page, Pure Lighthouse, home to Interludes. And we're on LinkedIn and now available on Pod TV, Roku channel.
Coach Tony's got a regular hair. Val's is like, a little bit. But my head looks like a balloon. I have a balloon head in
your head is fine. If you'd like to be a sponsor or on our platform, book time with us at linktr.ee/Pure Light Media. And if you're interested in starting your own platform or become a fan of Talk on Tuesdays, hashtag Wamble Wednesdays, or our audio show, Interludes, a Pure Lighthouse production. Join us on Patreon. And I'm going to ask Kevin to
Patreon.
I'm going to have him put that in the chat. Thank you so very much. Become a fan, a member, and get merch.
You had to tell me what Patreon was.
Yes.
I was like,
yes.
Because I know because I'm thinking like I could do a shot of Patreon tonight, you know.
Mm-hmm. And you know our motto, take a break for inspiration and motivation. Mike, what's your name?
My name is not Val the Voice Johnson, but yours is. And this has been Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesday with Val the Voice Johnson.
It's been a fabulous, fabulous Tuesday. Join us next week and join Michael tomorrow night. Peace.